Okay, so the first thing you probably noticed in that little cinematic thing I did for the intro was the new turret. This will be a mainstay enemy within the Gotham Edifice maps, and they can't really be killed or decommissioned at the moment, but they do implement the weaponry mechanics that we have set up. So these are enemies that, like I said, you can't kill, and they have a radius of 20 blocks and a dangerous radius of 3 blocks. So to tell you what that means, the radius of 20 blocks is where it can detect and shoot you from. The red radius is where it doesn't matter if the laser is pointing at you. If you're in this radius, it'll auto-target you. It just knows that you're there. So to show this off, if I just step within this radius, it'll just lock right onto me. And then if I'm in this radius, it doesn't do anything unless I'm actually within the laser. So something else that you saw in the little cinematic thing was that you can use smoke pellets to hide from the laser. So if I were to stand right here in this radius, it would lock onto me. If I throw down a smoke grenade, then it can't detect me. You can see the laser go straight through there, and it won't detect me while I'm in there. So the smoke grenades now have a new functionality where if you're within 4 blocks of them, you will be hidden, essentially. And so you will not be detected by lasers or enemies. The other enemies haven't been made yet, but it's set up for the future for when we do add them. Another thing about these is that they have a ton of functionality and a ton of customizability. Just kidding. Anyways, it's 2 sliders, so you can choose the FOV of it, the area that it'll just kind of bounce between, and you can choose the rotation. So if I do this, it'll have a FOV of 90. You'll see it goes over there, and then there we go. Now it's in its correct area, and then I can, rotate it as much as I want. The FOV will remain the same, and then if you stand in there, you die. So the turrets have what we're calling high caliber bullets or high caliber ammo. So in the add-on, there's going to be 2 different types of ammos. There's going to be high caliber and low caliber, or heavy arms and light arms and whatever. So the idea is that with heavy weapons or heavy or high caliber bullets, you would not be able to use the cape block mechanic. It will just fire straight through your cape because it's high caliber. It didn't hurt me there because I'm in creative, but and then low caliber or light arms would be able to be blocked by the cape. There's still a little bit of game dev that we need to work out on how we want the high caliber bullets to interact with cape blocks. We haven't figured that out just quite yet, but I'll let you know when there are more changes in that regard. Okay, so there's also been a couple changes to the camera command, or the camera mode. So let's get into those. So first, let's line up our shot as we usually do. Let's do camera mode. And then you'll see it says camera stored view and position. That it's a better way than just assuming that you got the command right last time. And then, we'll line up our shot with our character. Just look down like this, and then we'll do start, and then it'll say set camera to stored view and position. Now let's straighten out my character. There we go. So it actually lets you know what it's doing instead of you just hoping for the best. Another thing that I've been able to implement was a mechanic where you can take off your helmet or your mask. So the way that this works is it doesn't like remove the item from your inventory or whatever. It unrenders the helmet. So all you have to do is look generally down with an empty hand and then right click. And then you'll see it takes off the helmet. And then when you want it back, you just look down again, it puts it back on. Oh, that's a lever. So, pretty simple. I didn't want to make it like a command or anything. It just does it that way so that you can take it off or put it back on whenever you want. And yeah. And then to finish out the camera command stuff, we'll hit exit, and then it'll say exited out of camera view. So, that's the new camera changes and the new helmet removal mechanic, whatever. So, yeah. Okay, so Riddler collectibles or Riddler trophy things also got a new upgrade as well with new changes. So this was something that we kind of wanted to implement when they were first created, but we hadn't gotten around to it. But now, the riddle boxes, collectibles, terminals, whatever we're gonna call them, work kind of like command blocks. So, when, let's say I have this wall right here, and we want this to turn it into a doorway, you know? So what we can now do is answer as wall, submit. Then you can see it'll run a command that will make a wall. So how do we do it? So all you're gonna need is the stick, your handy dandy stick. We've been using it for all of the new stuff. It just does everything. So first, what we want to do is look at this command area. So you can see it says block, couple numbers. That'll be the position right below the collectible, and then set it to a redstone block. So the answer is window. So if I say window, you'll see it'll turn that into a redstone block. Now, instead, I want to turn this into a pane of green glass to show that it has been solved. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to do /fill, and then we're going to grab this position, press enter. Then we're going to grab this. We're going to look at this block. Then we'll do that. We'll get that position. And then we're going to do fill with lime stained glass. We're not going to hit enter because then that'll do the command already. Instead, we're going to hit Command A and then Command C. That'll take the entire command and copy it into our clipboard. We'll go back into this and then Command A or Control A and Control V. Then you can see it has pasted our command in there, and then we'll hit submit. Then when we try it out, you can say the answer is window. So we type window, submit, and there you go. So it'll run commands just like any other command block. I can see future use of this in like chain command blocks. So you could chain a couple command blocks to load like structures or something, or you could use the command to place a redstone block to start a redstone sequence or something useful, more useful than just filling blocks. But yeah, that's the new changes to the Riddler collectibles. So this was a really fun suit to make because instead of having a cape like all the other Batman suits, this one we decided would have a trench coat. So that came with its own challenges. Like, how am I supposed to make a trench coat look good on a Minecraft character? And what is it supposed to look like when you're gliding and all that good stuff? And luckily we were able to figure it out. So here's what it looks like when it's gliding. It's more of a circular shape instead of like a jagged Batman cape thing. And here's what it looks like in normal rendering. And then, yeah. Another thing that you'll notice is that when you move, the bottom of the trench coat moves around with you, just like the capes would, you know. And so, yeah. Here is the suit in full. So this was a really fun one to make because it was a lot of just me just drawing from a bunch of different sources for it, because I didn't want it to look exactly the same as the traditional suit, because the way that Edifice works is almost to make it different but the same, a little bit like definitely timeless. And so what we ended up doing instead of like a cape and stuff would be a trench coat, and then I gave it, you know, silver gauntlets instead of gold gauntlets and whatever. You'll notice that the main suit is pretty much like the generic version of the Talon armor. Let's take this off so you can see it a little bit better. So yeah, the entire trench coat is actually the elytra or the cape. So yeah, that is the new suit. Okay, so here's another mechanic that I wanted to make sure I made before making the turrets, because the turrets introduce a system where you can die. So here's how checkpoints work. So similarly to the encounter system in the previous update, the checkpoints have their own bounding boxes and their own entity that they come with. So let's say you've got two rooms right here, both death traps. But anyways, let's say you just have two rooms where you can have the character die somehow in. So you'd want to have a checkpoint outside of each room. So, or, you know, have checkpoints wherever in your world. I'm not going to judge. So first what you want to do is you want to place the checkpoint where you want the player to respawn at. So we'll just put it right there, and then we'll put one right there. Then we get out our handy dandy stick. If you get that reference, you're a go. Anyways, so you can see we have these checkpoints. And of course, if you have an encounter, which will probably be near that same area, when we get to adding like actual dynamic enemies, but yeah, we'll just get rid of that for right now. But anyways, the way these work is similar to the checkpoint when it comes to creating a bounding area. So we'll just hit it, it starts making particles, that shows the bounding area. So first let's make some blocks. So we've got this one selected, we'll smack that block, and then we'll smack that block. Then we'll get rid of that. So then this means if the character goes into that 3x3 square that we made, it'll save that as their checkpoint, as their save point, as their spawn point. So you'll see if I walk into it, it'll launch me straight into the B2 boss fight. Just kidding. But for real, you'll see if I walk into it, it says checkpoint saved. Now let's do the same for the other one. And of course it's completely dynamic, so it doesn't even have to be centered around the spawn point. So I can grab that and then like all the way over here and turn that into a checkpoint area. But you know, no matter where they enter the area from, they will only spawn on that entity. So if I come down here and then walk into this, it'll say checkpoint saved. And checkpoint saved. Now let's go into survival. So we've got this checkpoint. So if I die in here, respawn, I'll respawn right here. And then if I go over here, so that's checkpoint saved, I get shot at, I die, and then I respawn right here. Pretty sweet. So that's the checkpoint mechanic. Okay, so that about does it for this showcase. There's a couple more things that I want to show off in their own dedicated video and dedicated add-on, but that's about it for this one. There's a couple more changes that I'll be implementing over the next couple of weeks to the older features, namely the grapple hook, or grappling hook, grapple gun, that I think definitely need to be made with the new things that I've learned over the past month when it comes to scripting in Bedrock Edition. So you'll be able to see all that in my Discord. You'll see a lot more of the day-to-day in there. Of course, this is a joint venture with the Gotham Edifice project, mainly made by HeirOfAzrael and BludPanda. Of course, check out their channels, links will be in the description. And that's about it. See ya.